Oh gosh, what happened here? See, I just can't have nice things. Welcome to the Zachrilege cast. Amy Kuhel, how are you doing? And please tell me about your amazing background, because it's something else. And this is just what your house looks like, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is my actual wallpaper. The really shitty thing is getting the cat. Okay, so for one, you got to hit the cat with your car, and it's got to make that pose, but you got to hurriedly, quickly get it out and like shellac it so it stays in that pose. That was the hardest part, and the rest is just pretty gay.
The rest is just pretty gay. Dark beer as usual, and then in case that doesn't work, Dragon's Milk White. The lighter, darker beer.
Wait a second. The nondescript soda can.
Well, this isn't like one of those cooking show where they actually like tape over the name of products so they don't have to pay them. You know, I don't have to worry about that.
I would be drinking beer, however, I have to be awake at 5 a.m. because I now am a barista. So people want coffee really fucking early, and how dare they?
How is the barista business?
I like it. It's fun.
That's cool. I mean,
I did drink. It's fun. I like it.
I feel like people might tip baristas better than bartenders. I don't know, but and
depends how low cut
drinks. Yeah,
depends on how low cut your shirt is, I think.
Well, you make it work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, I would like to say you rock to Amy Stevens, who was the plaintiff in the recent Supreme Court decision after getting fired for being trans. And also would like to mention Dominique Remy Fells and Rhea Milton, two recently murdered Black trans women, since this week's very special episode is about recent issues, say trans community in general. We can say, was it 2 steps backward, 1 step forward? Maybe 1 step forward into a manhole that is uncovered. That's possibly where we are at the moment. Hi, Lily Saint.
We got an ounce of water in the desert after the long trek. That's what it is.
I mean, we have to at least occasionally leave things open to be surprised in a good way. I saw that in Brooklyn, there was a march for Black trans lives and 15,000 people showed up. Although it seems like, I mean, there's like a little tiny like strip mall like a mile from where I live, and there were like 50 people protesting last week. So it's happening everywhere. But, you know, when good things happen, bad things happen, or bad things happen first. Bad things happened a lot first before this whole situation. And one bad thing is formerly prolific author, now prolific blogger, JK Rowling is out and about. So we're just going to talk a little bit about her blog post and some of the comments she's made. She writes, adding that she worries the acceptance of transgender people will erode the legal definition of sex and replace it with gender. Thoughts?
On that statement alone?
Sure. It's a light one, I guess.
I mean, I guess you have to define your terms, right? And those two terms are kind of defined broadly in our society. Really quick, though, I just barely figured out the whole comments over there.
I know it's
over there. It's over there. I think it's down there.
It's somewhere.
So, hi Deborah, hi Jeannie, and hi Lily. But I mean, come on, when it's a big T, a little T kind of argument to make the allegory into the skepticism and atheist kind of community. You know, like the theory of gravity to science means something very different than I've got a theory about your flat tire. You know what I mean? So, like, sex and gender are really kind of not different words until you start getting into the social construct of both of these things. Gender generally refers to, like, for me, gender refers to like the outside, how you present, right? These gender roles, because when you talk about what gender are you, that varies in human beings greatly biologically. So gender and sex are the same. We have intersex people, we have trans people, we have non-binary people. All these things exist in biology, and they exist in science, and they exist in our world, and they always have. They always have.
Yeah.
So
there's this idea that it's a new concept.
It's such a new phenomenon.
It's fresh.
Well, I didn't become trans until in my 30s when I got a Tumblr account. And then all of a sudden, being on Tumblr.
That is a gateway drug, is it not?
Yeah, I became trans. I became trans. So yeah, that's my sad story. I'm in recovery. But yeah, no, it's a defining of terms, things, and concepts. When most people think of the word gender, they think about the little letter on your license plate, or your driver's license, not your license plate.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird, Amy. That was weird, Amy. Which
In God We Trust is in Georgia, of course, because
fucking burn that shit.
That explains everything.
But really, I mean, besides like colloquial, there's no real difference in the concepts unless you add modifiers to them, like gender roles. When they talk about biological sexes, which Miss Rowling, Turfling. This Turfling is talking about is like that very old concept of the gender binary that it's defined by the very obvious differences between men and women. Penis and vagina. But if you even look at those from a scientific and biological standpoint, they're not very different organs. They're formed very similarly. One just kind of goes out and closes, and the other one doesn't. And if there's so much variation in those things, and in chromosomes, which is the other argument they make when you talk about sex. Sex is chromosomes, X, Y, and XX. And it's a penis and a vagina and a uterus and testicles and ovaries. But what these people don't like to hear is that there's a giant variation in humans when it comes to those terms. So it's not a binary. And yes, cis people should definitely challenge the binary. I think Zach would look great in a little summer dress.
It's true, and it hasn't quite gotten super hot here in Atlanta, so we still have time. We still have shopping days, as they say. I just copied a definition from Wikipedia that says the distinction between sex and gender differentiates a person's biological sex, the anatomy of the individual's reproductive system, and secondary sex characteristics from that person's gender, which can refer either to social roles based on the sex of the person, gender role, or personal identification of one's own gender based on the internal awareness, gender identity. You can be aware of things. And I guess the sex, which JK Rowling and her minions say is something that can't be changed, that's just who you are, and then gender, which can be fluid. How you feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what's wrong with fluid? I'm drinking fluids right now. I feel like if this beer were solid, it'd be a lot worse. So, that argument, yeah.
No, I mean, I think it would just be bread at that point, considering what goes into beer.
Yeah,
it would definitely lose it. It wouldn't lose it would lose the alcohol, but it wouldn't lose the taste. So it depends on why you drink beer. Yeah. Silly definitions. I hope I was close to the always noble Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. I just threw that out there to show Deborah that, yes, I have actually done research, although I will not ever read 100-page dissent to a Supreme Court thing, even if it says beer is awesome for 100 pages, which if it's Kavanaugh, it might. But back to JK Rowling. So previous, as you mentioned, her recent blog explosion, it was not the first time she's gotten in trouble for this subject. I think it was last year. She defended a woman named Maya Forstater, who she said was fired, but apparently was just a contract that ended. And just because the woman was very anti-trans with her coworkers, and they decided not to keep her. But JK Rowling just dove in to defend this person because free speech.
So here's the thing: if you lose your, I remember
that background of the story.
Yeah,
You remember?
I remember. I don't remember what was cool in '91, but I fucking remember Rowling's tweets from a year and a half ago. God damn it, world. So, if you get fired for being an asshole,
no Sans. There's like 2 people last name Sant on here, so Soma and Lily. So look at that. I'm just seeing way more than the usual too.
That's because they're married, actually.
Excellent.
They're listeners to my podcast and my Twitch channel, and I told them that they had to come.
Well, good.
Because I was here.
Well, I mean,
you
could class up the joint, clearly. But I interrupted.
I class up what?
Oh. You class up the joint.
I gotta put pants back on.
No, the video's this right here, not that. You're fine.
Thanks, Zach.
Sure.
So you can get fired for being an asshole. You can get fired for being a dick. You can get fired for being a racist, a homophobe, and a transphobe. And that doesn't mean people with less privilege than you all of a sudden blocked your you're being kept at a job or what have you because you were the dick. Okay, if you're a dick, you get fired for being a dick. If you're in the minority because you think people who are different from you are somehow icky, then you're still wrong. I mean, especially when it's based in myth and misfact, right? A lot of these, we call them TERFs. I really think we should call them farts. That's feminist appropriating radical transphobe. We should switch terms because one is a lot more smelly.
We'll make it so. You have power.
Where's the? I don't know how to drive this thing. I don't warp what, Captain. Oh, I'm a nerd. So yeah, I mean, that person they didn't get fired. They just didn't renew their contract. They got basically let go because they were an asshole. Because the majority of people in society don't agree with your views, and again, the majority of people who are experts in the field don't agree with your views because the evidence doesn't state what you're saying. The crime statistics don't state it. Trans women aren't raping women. All right, trans women are at more risk for rape, murder, and assault, especially in the bathroom, than you are. What we want to do when we go in there is the same thing that you want to do. Don't fart too loudly, take a leak, and leave. That's it. Wow. You're just making me jealous. I gotta work in the morning. I really want a beer.
I'm sorry.
So I mean that's it's a really simple equation. You have your own little blind spots and your own faults and your own bigotry, and you use the people that you hate irrationally as a scapegoat for your shortcomings. We got smaller.
Sorry. I was checking some things. Nope, that's not working. That's better.
I was good with smaller. I've seen my face.
Yeah, I had I don't know. I'm just going to move on because I was trying to share something and I haven't done it before in this thing and I'm probably going to blow something up. If I try.
Don't do that. It'll translate through the internet and blow me up too. Because that's how matter works.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate. I believe another thing that JK Rowling kept saying, she was trying to make a very big distinction between women who are, I guess the term would be women who are born women and then women who are trans, and use the term people who menstruate to even though that could include some trans men, I suppose. Why the
shit,
exclusion?
that was so funny. It was just days after she fucking did this turfy bullshit, this farty bullshit on the Twitters, and then she does it again, and we're like, fuck, man, not all people who menstruate are women. And you know what? Even if that were true, everybody's a person. Why can't we have inclusive language? Why is that so fucking hard? Why is that so difficult? Why does there have to be like, okay, so plenty of cis women never menstruated in their whole life for a million different reasons.
Okay, let me see. I'm sharing a screen here. Just let me know if it shows up.
Yeah. I love that name.
If you're not watching this, well, too bad. If you're listening, it's a screen capture of a woman apparently going under a stall in a bathroom. Hi, just checking to see if you have a penis or vagina. I don't want you to make me uncomfortable. And now let's see if I can undo that. Oh, I hit a button. It worked. Neat. Yeah, no, it's like, well, my mom's 70. I don't think she menstruates anymore. So you're out. You're out of the club.
She's safe because postmenopausal women had the ability to reproduce and menstruated at one time. So they're still valid. Women who had hysterectomies at a young age, they're still valid. But then they forget about other, I don't want to use the word disorder, medical conditions. Is that little nicer, where they will have been appear completely female, but they'll be testosterone resistant. And they'll actually have an XY phenotype, but they don't have a uterus. They don't have anything, but they lived their entire life born and assigned as female, but they're not technically, according to JK Rowling, a woman.
It is true.
It's stupid. Trans men menstruate, and they're still dudes. They are. That's just the facts of the world. Some women can't ever have babies and never had the ability to have babies. That doesn't mean they're less of a woman. And it's really hard for those cis women who can't have babies or never menstruated or because of medical illnesses or conditions or other mitigating factors. Like childhood sexual abuse and or injuries or other things that made their parts not worky. I'm gonna keep the language. Well, I'm gonna keep the language simple just in case one of these turfs get on the video, or in the chat room. I didn't say that. That's an ad hominem, right? No, it's an at whatever.
It's a whatever.
It's an attack, and I shouldn't have done that. That's rude. But those women who have those issues, they were assigned female at birth, who are cis women, they have reportedly, I don't know, they have a lot of guilt because they can't have kids. Because there's so much pressure to have kids. There's so much pressure to fit into this specific definition of what a man is and what a woman is, and it hurts both of those groups, right? Just entirely. Like if Zach did decide that he found a blue, just in the Imagine world, there was a nice blue denim summer dress with pockets, and it went spinning, and that made
pockets. Clearly,
it's got to have pockets. When dresses have pockets, the world is just such a better place. And he wanted to wear it because, well, frankly, waking up in the morning and getting dressed with a dress is easy. It's just one. That's it, right? Just no zip, no pants, no nothing. Just one piece of clothing. It's like putting in your t-shirt and going. That made Zach happy. That made him feel manly. That made him feel great. And everybody else in the world is like, you're a effing F word, Zach, and all this. Come on. It's just a piece of clothing. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have a sex. You weren't born with a specific color assigned to you based on your genitalia. Chris, do us a favor and don't.
Yeah, no kill it, because I know he's going commando that thing. It's happening.
Wait, Chris, do.
There you go. You've been called. I mean, I have my dad's side of the family is Scottish, so I could get one. Although kilts are not cheap. That's another thing.
Buy a fucking skirt. And
There's probably a secondhand version of that. There's always a cheaper version. Yeah, I think it was like the early 19th century. Pink was a male color, and it just got reversed. And the whole gender reveal, which
well, I mean,
has happened with family members of mine. It's like that's like a 10, 15-year-old thing that just came up. It's like it's just another cultural thing that got added, and everybody acts like it's been here forever, and it hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
We can change our culture. We should challenge.
Yeah, like in God we trust.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I gotta get all those strings in. Atheist, skeptic, queer stuff. Gotta get tied all into a big ball. Wibbly wobbly, social justice warrior-y.
I don't know. It seems like a lot of quote unquote skeptics are like, golf clap for JK Rowling. She's just saying the scientific truth. That's what she's doing.
Right. That's the one of the reasons why I'm not. High heels. You're right, Jeannie. High heels were a very masculine thing to wear in the.
Who's wearing high heels right now? Our president. That's why he slipped down that whatever he was walking down.
Lifts are not high heels, but regardless, they were
tall. Like anyway, I don't know why. I don't know. Nothing makes sense. I mean, to try to
nothing. Yeah. Nothing with him makes sense. Nothing. Anyways, yeah. High heels. Let me finish a fucking thought, man.
I know. I'm the worst. That's why I have this.
High heels were very masculine fashion in the 18th, 19th century, basically to keep the shit off your boots. And somewhere along the line, they were assigned to women, and men got very, what is that? You're gay if you wear high heels. Not counting that for most of the history of high heels, they were men's fashion. Babies in the late in the 1900s, in the 19th century and early 20th century, babies all wore the same clothes. They all had
sense, yeah.
They all had the same little lacy dress looking thing because it was easier to change a diaper, and it's a fucking baby. You can look at a picture of a very young the guy, Teddy Roosevelt. That's the guy. And he was basically as a very young child in a lacy dress. I mean, that's the norm. And now it's everything in a boy's room has to be blue and baseball bats, and everything in a girl's room has to be pink and flowers. Gerald Ford, too. Thank you, Colleen.
Well, talk about somebody who could change the gender norms. I mean, one of the reasons why Trump allegedly never goes to work before noon is because he takes him hours to get his hair and his makeup done. Because it's got to be just so. He's got to get the spray. He's got to get the whatever that is on his head. That thing behind you, that's what he's got on his head.
Well, when you have to go out and kill it and skin it and then sew it onto your head every morning, that takes a while.
It's a lot of work. Yeah,
it takes a minute. I
mean, Andrew Jackson made it look easy. Yeah.
So back to the original point. Yeah, not everybody who menstruates is female, and that inclusive language takes care of that. Because again, trans people have always existed in human history. Always. They were found all around the world. We've found them both in oral and written and archaeological histories. So biologists do not define humans in such rigid categories when dealing with sex/gender. So to the skeptics and to the turflings and the farts and the turfs, like, your argument is not based on, fact, no matter what you say. Oftentimes when I'm faced with this argument, especially the biological one, the whole biological determinism, you are what you were born to be. They sum it up by, there's men, penis equals male, vagina equals female. I learned that in 3rd grade biology. And my only response to that is, Well, it's a good thing that the experts in the different fields got a lot more than a third grade education, gas attendant.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
Yeah, they should be renamed and they should be repackaged, because there are a lot of trans guys and boys who don't really like buying pink flowered maxi pads or tampons, you know? So
Yeah, they should have those with like sports themes. I mean, now masks are available in anything you want.
yeah,
So
predatory capitalism at its best, right?
let me go ahead and do, this is just a quote from JK Rowling. Although it might just be a quote from the article about her. I'm not sure because I researched poorly. I'm concerned about the huge explosion in young women wishing to transition, and also about the increasing numbers who seem to be detransitioning. So as somebody who's trans, is that something that people do lightly? Just doesn't seem like that's the case. I mean, I suppose you want to change your outfits, that's one thing, but
you know,
like how you actually see yourself,
going through sometimes rather challenging and embarrassing therapy to get permission to be trans, to get medication, and then going to a doctor, sometimes going through a long and embarrassing medical exam and getting tested. At the time that I came out, you had to actually, like, the doctor would quiz you on about what the drugs are going to do to your body, and do you understand what's going to happen? I do. So that's 2 doctors that you've gone through, right? And you've paid for them, and insurance doesn't generally pay for them, especially at that time. It's a little different now depending on where you live, but so you go through the expensive therapy that's sometimes embarrassing, where your entire identity gets questioned. You go through the embarrassing doctor's appointment that gets your identity gets questioned, and you basically have to keep proving yourself to cis people and paying for it out of pocket. It was expensive. Then you go to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist comes and runs across the counter and says, "Young man, do you know what these pills are going to do to you?" That was great. See your family ostracizing you. Losing jobs, careers. No, I totally took it lightly. I mean, it was easy.
Clearly, yeah.
Now, the
whole thing about the, you go ahead.
Well, I mean, there's 2 parts of her argument, right? We understand that in most of the first world, I fucking hate that because it generally means like white countries, but it's really hard to, even still now, it's a lot easier, but it's still hard to be trans and get the proper medical care that you need. I mean, it's a lot easier than when I came out, but I'm glad Lily has a really nice pharmacist, and I do now. But anyway, they get really freaked out when they're like, "You're my drug dealer now."
That's what you said?
When I switched pharmacies, I did.
Oh, cool.
I switched CVS to another CVS when I moved to the suburbs, and I went in, and they're like, "Oh, is this going to be your regular CVS?" I'm like, "Yep, you're my drug dealer now." Pharmacist was totally uncomfortable with that.
That sounds like the kind of joke that you should have heard of once or twice already as a pharmacist.
She's worried about women like leaving, like becoming men, like transitioning into men. Sweetie, they were boys already. All right. Okay. And the second part of it was all these people detransitioning because it's so easy to do. There's not all these people, and people detransition for a lot of reasons. And it's not because like somebody talked them into it or they found the information on Tumblr and they're like, "Oh, I'm trans." Man, some people, or I guess Reddit is more apt now because Tumblr is way fucking dead now that they took the porn off of it. But the amount of people who detransition because of the reasons that TERFs kind of put forward is in the vast minority of trans people. I've met people. I have people in my life that have detransitioned, and they would get on testosterone or whatever, and they're just like, it doesn't feel right for me, or they're like, no, I was really gender fluid, or non-conforming, or one of these in between places. And they're like, I don't want to change my body. It wasn't fitting. It didn't fit then, and it doesn't fit now. So there's a lot of complicated personal reasons for detransitioning, but those numbers still aren't huge. Something like 95% of trans people who take the medication or take the medication and get surgeries, because surgeries don't have to happen to make you valid. All right. Write this shit down. Not you, Zach. I'm talking
well
to those people.
It's good to get a refresher, but yeah, it's not. There's no official book there.
Most of those people, most trans people who go through those steps are happier and healthier and less suicidal and less depressed and a lot less of a lot of things after they go through the transition. I hate that fucking word. Myself, right? I mean, I can only speak to my worldview. Don't use me as an example for the whole trans community, because God knows they don't want me. But because I'm just too damn fabulous.
We're not ready yet.
And you might say I'm a royal pain in the ass. Haha. I kind of sit back some days and just like at how relaxed I am being me, right? Just wearing the clothes that I want to wear. Just, if I choose to wear makeup or not, if I choose to shave my legs or not, because I don't always have to or want to, or have not done that in 7 months. Just sitting back and enjoying that I can feel kind of at home in my own skin. It's the analogy is like I was born in the wrong body is completely accurate. My body wasn't shaped right. It wasn't, it didn't feel like it belonged to me. It felt like it felt like if you had a hand growing out of your head and you just kind of waved to everybody, you wouldn't like that. It didn't fit, so you had it cut off. Or like those evil people who eat their twin in the womb, they just didn't like that dude. So they just absorbed him. I mean, it is what it is. And we revel in that fact. So there isn't a massive amount of people detransitioning, and people aren't traitors to their gender. They're being who they're meant to be. Even if it was a choice, even if it is a choice or not a choice, or you're born that way, or whatever argument fits your life, that's who they need to be to live a whole, authentic, and happy life. And just stop fucking with them, unless it's consentful and you approve and love, or you have consent with the other person. Then totally fuck with them. They might like it, getting laid.
See, there are lots of options out there. I thought I'd throw out a term that I believe is turfy or farty, as we're going to use tonight. Is this a legitimate thing? Rapid onset gender dysphoria.
Well, if you travel to countries in tropical countries and you don't get the shot, so like if you're going to go to Rio, right, for Carnival, and there's a lot of
by the way, don't right now. Brazil's like 10 times worse than Florida. Hi, Deborah. Anyway,
you do COVID. This isn't real. What I'm saying, it's just an example. It's an allegory.
Sorry, go with it. I apologize.
The best way to kill a joke is to explain it or interrupt it with public safety announcement.
I know. That's why I've only hosted 200 some episodes. Please continue.
So yeah, no, there's no such thing. I was going to make this big long story about you. If you don't get inoculated, you go down to Carnival where they have lots of gender bending in their festival, and you get all of a sudden rapid onset. That rapid onset gender dysphoria that actually started. I make the Tumblr jokes. That started about a decade ago, when a lot of people started coming out via social media and via Tumblr, and a lot of information all of a sudden exploded on the internet. Because, when you have almost the entire like human race connected in a virtual world where information can be shared at the speed of light, information just becomes freely available, good or bad, right? And you can't use that. You can't use that as an excuse to like, it's all of a sudden, it all came on all of a sudden. And parents believed a lot of this was happening because like all of a sudden their kid just came up. They had a few trans friends at school, and they just came home and they said they wanted to be a girl, or they wanted to be a boy, or they didn't want to be either. And oh my God, it was just so sudden. Chances are they were thinking about it for a very long time before that. Those friends empowered that person to believe that they could also pursue what they felt was their best way of living their life and expressing themselves, or biological determinism, they were born that way, whatever you want to use. And it certainly wasn't rapid for them. And like Jeannie's saying, a lot of it is like the satanic panic. It's just misinformation. It's just people writing their own narrative for somebody else because what's in front of them scares the shit out of them. As humans, new things that challenge our worldview or our tribe, or in groups, scare the shit out of us as a reflex. And it happens even to the best of us social justice warriors, the people who are our CEOs at Antifa. It still happens to us.
Yes. Don't out me on that, please. This is public.
What? I get paid billions of dollars to sit on the
the George Soros money.
Yeah.
No waiting. There's plenty of money to protest if you're conservative, but that's okay because it's, if you're a status quo warrior, you're in the money,
Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. It's that same kind of contradiction, like, you're already hired, Lily, at Antifa. You didn't know it, but you already are.
Antifa
We're just waiting
everywhere.
We're waiting for the owl to deliver it to you.
Oh no, she had to go there. So there's this concern. This will be the end of the JK Rowling part, although it's pretty much the entire show. She has a big concern about single-sex spaces. So why is there this constant drumbeat? I mean, the meme I shared earlier, and hey, Chris, I shared a fucking meme. Where's my cookie?
It's stickers now, not cookies.
That the trans women are the predators, and they're attacking the innocent women wearing Teddy Roosevelt's outfit. So isn't it just men who attack women in bathrooms as opposed to it being a trans issue? Like, isn't that something that seems to actually happen with statistical backing as opposed to this scare tactic?
Well, I hate to tell you, Zach, but most crimes in this country are committed by you. Not you in particular. By cis, straight, white males. Okay, disproportionate. We could talk about the prison system and policing, and oh my God, but yeah, most of those crimes are committed by straight cis dudes.
It's all my fault.
It is. It's you and Chris's fault, actually. Everybody else in the chat and they don't fit into that, so it's you and Chris's fault. Which I agree with. I talked to both of you, so I'm down with this hypothesis.
Yeah.
This thesis. The fact is, okay, I've been doing news and queer stuff and all this for 4 years. I've been doing the research and education for 6 years. No, Chris, it's too hairy. Washy. Never go ass to
It's
mouth.
called soap.
You can get the white soap. It's fine. Get the ivory. And then, of course, I've been doing on my own personal study, just trying to understand who I was and why I had the thoughts I've had since I was 20. So that's 22 years. And in those 22 years, I've found 4 confirmed cases of trans women doing something bad. One was a pedophile. The other took lewd pictures of people without their permission. And the other 2 were people who did sexual assault. Statistically, more cis women assault people in those same categories than trans women. And a lot more Chris's and Zach's do that than the other 2 groups.
It's for those ZACK types. They're questionable.
You know what? Those ZACKs, they're just... I think we should just arrest those guys just without cause, because they're fucking weird, right?
You should.
So the notion that trans women are predatory is just completely false. Again, like I said earlier, you know what I do when I go to the women's room to pee? And especially, like, I had to go in a mall once and it was busy and there were women and girls and everybody in there. And I was like, oh, damn. The only thing I could think about was the line is long and my bladder is going to explode. I wasn't thinking about anybody naked. You know, I wasn't thinking about anybody urinating or anything or deciding that it was the time to rape somebody. It's not the thing. And the other argument is laws that protect trans people in these single gender shared spaces is going to create an atmosphere for sex offenders to do their sex offending. Guess what? They were doing it when it's still illegal, and they were doing it before when it was illegal. Still, there's no correlation, dumbass. It just like that, okay? No, it's fucking stupid. And if you thought about it for a goddamn second, you'd think it was stupid. Of course I wash my hands. Who doesn't? I'm not in the men's room.
Yeah, that soap hasn't been refilled since like 1992.
It's actually just a solid bar in there now.
I thought we'd transition, funny joke, to a different subject. So it's Pride Month, and I figured, okay, so I don't know who it was who basically said that SpongeBob SquarePants is gay, and it pissed off Christians. And I just thought, okay, this is a very light subject that has nothing to do with anything. Do you have thoughts on SpongeBob being gay?
Well, okay, so first thing, aren't sponges asexual and have...
See, I knew you'd have that.
Exactly. They have both male and female parts.
I think it was
reproduce asexually. But with that aside, him and Patrick are definitely fucking. All right, 2 guys don't spend that much time and love each other that much without a little sponge on starfish action. And who wouldn't? Patrick's adorable, SpongeBob's adorable, and they make a great couple, like Bert and Ernie. Okay? Those 2 guys, those 2 puppets are fucking. Those 2 cartoons are fucking. I'm sure that's on 4chan somewhere because, guys, it's a cartoon. They're not fucking. They're not real. Christians. They're cartoons. If you want over gayness in your cartoons, watch the new She-Ra on Netflix.
Oh.
And
that makes me mad too, yeah.
And also watch shit, that other show with
that's a good title. Shit, that other show.
The 2 super villains, the really cute green one and the other one who was with the Joker. PTSD brain, I forget shit. Yeah, Harley Quinn. The Harley Quinn commercial.
Okay.
Because her and Ivy are great couple. Makes me not want to be bi, just gay for plants. Sense8. Yeah, I was talking about cartoons though, but yeah, Sense8. Oh, finally get to see Martha Jones naked. Ha, yeah. Let's SpongeBob.
I've not seen that yet.
If SpongeBob and Patrick are gay, let them be gay. I mean, they're not actually fucking in front of your kids on the TV. It's okay for people to be gay, and it's not. Yeah. It's like the only thing straight bigots can think about is the actual act, right? You know, something else for those people is like, did you know not all gay men like to take it in the ass? Like, that's not a thing. It's not all about butt stuff.
Whoa.
I mean, but that's all they imagine. They totally sexualize the entire relationship with you know, queer people. It's just about the sex. It's just about that. But of course, these are the same people who got to come up with a nickname for a penis and a vagina. You know, it's your special parts. It's your no-go zone. It's your help me out here, Zach. Your willy, your
Was it
your hoo-ha.
cat or something? I don't know.
Yeah, they
Had bad terms. Being straight dude. So yep.
Americans are so fucking frigid and squidgy about anything that might be sexual or outside the norm. Like gay guys, like two gay guys or two gay women who have been married for 10 years are probably having as much sex as two straight people who have been married for 10 years. It's all about getting the kids to soccer and dinner and careers and shit like that. Where, you know, gay people aren't necessarily puritanical. Thank you, Chris. Puritanical. Gay people aren't necessarily just like fucking at every corner. We're not any more or any less hornier than you are. Stop it.
Mind blown.
And if you're like me, you're barely sexual at all.
So we go from SpongeBob to the downside. So the Trump administration last Friday basically got rid of an Obama rule saying that medical professionals can deny trans and gay people medical attention. And I think it also happened on the anniversary of the Pulse attack, if I was not correct. Yep. It's also fucking Pride Month.
Yep.
You think there's not like a reason behind all this?
You know, I think that's a little.
There's anything to say about like.
Well, okay, so there's a couple things I can say about this. I don't believe a lot of people think it was a very directed attack at the queer community that they finalized this change in the rule on the anniversary of the Pulse shooting and Pride Month. But I don't think anybody who was involved in that decision has enough awareness to know that those things were happening. For them, it was all just about getting it done as quick as possible, and that happened to be the timeline. So I think it's coincidental. I don't think it's purposeful.
I don't know. They seem to do anniversaries, like the Trump's going to Tulsa, and it was like the anniversary of the Tulsa, like basically massacre, and then he's going to Jacksonville for the Republican nomination on the anniversary of a big attack on Black community in Jacksonville 60 years ago. It seems like somebody is doing the math, like Stephen Miller, who's a total asshole, and I can't believe this guy is still in our government, but somebody has to be in there, right? It's like maybe all these people have left. It's like somebody has to stick around.
I don't know. I mean, God knows. I have no idea what's going on in the maelstrom that is the Trump administration or his head. So, but what I do know is that the Supreme Court ruling could have an effect, a definite effect on that rule that got changed when it goes to court. Because several institutions have already sued the Trump administration for started the paperwork and the litigation to do so.
Lawyers are going to cash in, but yeah, I was wondering. So, you know, after what happened on Friday, then we had the Supreme Court, and we thought the Supreme Court, the bought and paid for Supreme Court, was going to rule against trans and gay people, but they didn't, and it felt like, you know, on the surface, okay, this is like Obergefell, you know, gay marriage being legalized. This is a big thing, but it's also like, this is 2020. Something bad is about to happen around the corner. How did you feel when you found out that this was, and Gorsuch of all people was like, you know, I
read the majority opinion by Gorsuch, and I
you
thought
see, Deborah, somebody does her homework, not me.
Well, some of us are fucking professionals.
Yeah, exactly. Some.
I read the opinion by Gorsuch, and I thought I might need to call 911 because I thought I was having an aneurysm and I was hallucinating. this is when these cases went to court. Yeah, right. When these cases went to court, and we're heading to the Supreme Court last year, I was positive with the loaded court of conservative justices that we were gonna lose, and it was gonna be bad. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it was going to be a 6-3 ruling and people like Gorsuch were going to be on the majority voting side or writing such a positive fucking opinion about what Congress intended with Title VII. Let me slow that down for you, Zach, and less legal mumbo jumbo. They done good, and it was a surprise, and that is jurisprudence now. That is Title VII has for sure at the highest court been defined to cover sex discrimination, covers gay and trans people. That is law now.
Well, this Title VII, this is the Civil Rights Act from 1964, right? So This is like a 56-year-old decision that
most people and most
jumbo.
Well, if Zach will make the screen smaller, my words will be smaller.
Oh, is that it? No, I think your words are just the right size.
So, I mean,
as they would say,
the problem we had with this case is because there was no real case law dealing with it. There were some cases by federal district courts, but they were literally almost half and half as positive or negative. So there was no jurisprudence when it came to this decision. So the Supreme Court would have to rely on what Congress intended it to cover in 1964, and they made the decision that most legal scholars think that Congress did and used a broad definition so that when the world changed, it still covered those things. And that's how we thought the conservative court would not go, because it was the logical, made sense thing. Yeah, this should have been a no-brainer. You're just going, how did you know my safe word, Zach?
Oops.
Wait.
It's all about research.
I don't remember seeing your name on the payment statement from my OnlyFans account. So yeah,
it's all anonymous.
The decision was that's you. Okay. The decision for me as a queer person was I was so fucking surprised at that ruling, and that I was stunned. And this decision will matter a lot when it comes to suing the Trump administration's HHS for the medical stuff. It will mean a lot, because they won't be able to define Title VII as this way for doctors, but not this way for businesses. It won't work like that, and it's never worked like that in the past. So it has better and far-reaching consequences than we can imagine. Stop saying it. Every time you guys say jurisprudence, I stop and I...
Jurisprudence.
I mean, I'm no longer moist.
But of course, it's all about the RFRA aspect of it all. How come there never is a religious exemption where they're like, we want to give people more rights? It's always like, we want to take people's rights away, and it's in our religious texts, and we're going to ignore society, and people are like, cool, we like that.
Well, those same people believe they get their morals from...
Catholic churches should totally own hospitals. That sounds great.
Yeah, when I was in the hospital, I was in a Catholic hospital church. I was so fucking scared. Anyway.
God. It's wrong. It's just wrong.
These people also believe that they get their morals from the Bible and from the church. They don't realize that they get their morals from the same place as the rest of us do, and that's from a secular society that's ever changing and ever moving.
Ooh.
So suck it. They use religion as a veiled excuse for hate, and they're gonna get caught up on it one day, especially when you have somebody as cool as the Satanic Temple out there challenging them on every step. And they promised to challenge that gay rights, trans rights, and abortion. Like the Satanic said, yeah, we'll spend millions doing that. And that's why they get our money, and that's why they're our favorite church.
Well, I think on the same day as that Supreme Court decision. There was a 7-2 decision that they were going to do an $8 billion, what was it, pipeline through like the Appalachian Trail that could collapse it. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who liberals love, was like, I'm in. So,
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's perfect.
Getting to that level, it's something else. But you know what's something else? You play video games a lot. So are you video gaming? Even though your barista time is probably taken away from that.
Dude, I video game, I barista, and I podcast. What the fuck, right? Do I sleep? Nah, dude, I gave it up. So much cocaine, so many hookers. I'm so cool. So, I do play the video games on the Twitch TV, and it's this. Wait. This or this?
It's hard. It's spelled in jurisprudence.
This. We just hit a milestone on Twitch where we got what's called affiliate, so I can actually start getting paid from ad revenue and members. So please, I'm fun to watch. I am. I even got Lyman watching me.
Oh.
Lyman, Natalie, Podunk, Polly, the better half, the better looking half anyway.
Shots fired. Not really.
I'm kidding, Chris. I love you.
Do
I? I do love Chris. We have a lot of fun with the video games, and we still. I don't think it's fun. You don't die enough. Yeah, that's fucked up. Fuck off. Amy is too good. I might have some biased people in the audience. That's all.
I know. At the end, you're getting a lot of hate. I mean, I feel like you're doing strong, and then you talk video games, and everybody's all, "See, this is why this community." I'm just, it's a circular firing squad. It's just everybody's shooting each other.
Plus, we do the ever-present and ever-trying-to-survive podcast, The Ginger Snaps, which is surpassed 100 episodes. I love you too, Colleen. And we're still kicking and going with my co-host, William. It's a good show. You should listen to that too.
You should. Jurisprudence. Okay.
I gotta take the cuffs off now.
We've almost done an hour. I can't believe it.
Really good night. Really quick, I want people to understand why this matters, why JK Rowling's words matter. Media matters, right? If Bert and Ernie, Patrick and SpongeBob, all these people, gay and whatever, that matters, especially to gay children. And a lot of queer kids, queer, trans, bi, blah, 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 saw a lot of themselves in a lot of Harry Potter characters. And it helped them get through their shitty childhoods or trying to understand who they were. And then their hero comes out and tells them that they're not really the person they say they are. And that's devastating. When you have that kind of influence, when you have that kind of, that kind of job where you become a quote unquote hero for somebody, you have a responsibility to think about what you're going to say. Unless you're me, because I'm dumb. But
no.
To double down and back down on the things she said literally ruins the childhood of millions of queer people. They need her to not be that. That's why media and representation matters. And that's why we need people who aren't queer, who aren't trans, to support us and tell us that we're not, this horrible non-person, this other, we're not that. Thankfully, the cool people in the Harry Potter universe, like the chick who played Hermione in PTSD brain, I can't remember their name.
Yeah, all the actors in her movies were like, yeah, what she said was bad.
Yeah, like Daniel Radcliffe and all those people are like, yeah, trans women are women, trans men are men, you're all valid, we love you. Mm-hmm. So it's there's still hope out there. But as far as like, now am I gonna feel bad when I pirate the Harry Potter movies? No. No. But that stuff matters. 30 seconds to spare, Zach. Bam.
Well,
Professional.
I'd say usually aim for 45 minutes, but that's with lesser guests, and when guests are super video game stars and baristas and all that good stuff, they get more time because they're awesome.
Thanks.
I know you
I'm
beverages.
not, but thanks.
And enjoy your life in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Stan.
You want to end with a joke?
Sure.
You ready?
I hope so.
You ready? Hey, Zach.
I am ready.
What did the barber say to the moon when he cut his hair?
What?
Eclipse it.
Boom. See? I got you a joke, people. Actually, she gave me a joke. So thank you for being on short notice. And oddly, you were well-versed on trans subjects. Odd. I don't know why that is, but and video games and crazy cat backgrounds.
It's the cats in the background's fault.
Happy Pride Month. You still have like 2 weeks. Who knows what could happen next? That is absolutely not funny. So,
nope, that's scary. Let's keep
thank you for being on.
Thank you, Zach. Anytime.
I appreciate that.